We'll take an in-depth look at one of the best athletes on Ohio Wrestling's roster, along with freshmen that made an impact as soon as they hit the roster. A new episode of the Bobcats Sports Showcase starts now. The winter temperatures are cooling off, but Ohio winter athletics are just heating up. I'm your host, Abby Carnevale, and the Bobcats Sports Showcase is back on your TVs after a short break. We've got stories focusing on the young Bobcats, and I want to start out in the pools. Showcase reporter Mateen Ozishik caught up with a team veteran and talked about how the new additions to the green and white squad will help revamp Ohio swimming and diving this season.
The secret to the Ohio women's swimming and diving team's success so far this season has come from an unlikely place: the freshmen.
This freshman class is not just a great group of swimmers, they're a great group of people. They're like a breath of fresh air, like I can't really explain. They're mature, and as freshmen, I expect freshmen to come in and be a bit like skittish and like okay, but these kids came in, like killed it straight away, like up with the upper freshmen. I'm super proud of the way they're training and the way they've just conducted themselves generally. I really think they're going to be the huge difference.
Ohio were picked to finish 6th in the MAC this season, but the Bobcats have other plans.
We are not going to come 6th. I'm sorry, like there's no way. Obviously, I understand why that were put as 6th. I can understand that. But I keep going back to these freshmen, like, but they are really quick. I believe in them, they believe in the rest of the team, and it's all about just trusting in each other. And I think by the time we get to max, considering how quick some of us are going right now, I mean, by the time we get to max, we should be flying. So I really don't think, I can't say where we'll place, but I know we won't be 6th. I know that for a fact. And I think a lot of people are going to get fright by the time we get to max next year.
As the swimmers get closer to championship season, the stakes get higher. But rest assured, Ohio will be ready.
New athletes aren't the only things giving teams an upgrade. The Ohio hockey team is looking to give their facility some upgrades, and Showcase reporter Haley Herenowich caught up with a few of the team members to see how they're looking forward to it.
Ohio hockey has changed throughout the years, from its roster to its coaches to its staff. But what about the arena itself? Barely any changes have ever been made to Ohio University's Byrd Arena since it was built in 1957. That was 59 years ago. While Byrd is appreciated for its great history, it is in need of serious renovation. Several improvements and potentially a new arena are finally being talked about to take Ohio hockey to the next level.
I think one of the main things they're looking to do is fix the compressors. It's been around for like 20-25 years and it's getting old to blow out, and it just affects the ice conditions. And then along with that, the insulation on top of the roof. When we get here in the summer, up until probably about October, November, the ice is really subject to the weather conditions outside.
This ancient compressor is what chills the ice, a crucial part to an ice arena. And it has been around since the 1950s. But that isn't the only issue. The arena needs a new HVAC system, upgrades to the building's roof, and far more seating for fans. Currently, the sides of the arena go up to just 6 rows at the top on both sides, leaving several people crammed, standing, or still waiting in line out the door before games. The team's locker room itself is also an issue.
Our locker room, kind of renovating it to kind of the quality the program's reach. We're consistent top 10 team every year, and having better facilities will help us attract better athletes.
These renovations would not only benefit Ohio hockey, but several of the other organizations at Byrd University.
The rink needs upgrades not only for the hockey program, but it needs upgrades for the youth hockey program and the figure skating and the learn to play. So it's not just us that uses the rink.
With Ohio Bobcats Sports Showcase, I'm Haley Herenowich.
Ohio Wrestling's most recent additions are fairly new to the collegiate mats, but they're already making big impressions. The freshman campaign, as they like to call themselves, are confident, but they have the big wins to back it up. Reporter Nolan Walker looked into the 2 lightweights and see how they got the Bobcat ball rolling.
In college wrestling, it is rare for a true freshman to crack the starting lineup. The Ohio Bobcats are not your typical wrestling program, starting 2 true freshmen. Shakur Laney and Cameron Kelly make up the 1-2 punch to get the match going for the Bobcats.
Call ourselves the freshman campaign, freshman duo, so we get to go back to back. So it's cool, we feed off each other, you know. I get to watch my boy go out, wrestle first, gets me excited.
I'm like a bolt of energy. So like I get things rolling with my dance and everything. After like wins, and then I know come off the mat, he go do the same thing. And then from there, it just makes our team better.
The high energy, high attack rate, everything involved, it creates our guys to wrestle better too. So we try to get those guys firing all cylinders because they kind of set the tone for the dual meet.
After their matches, their brotherhood mentality resonates, on and off the mat, whether that's recapping their performance or getting away from the everyday stresses of being a college athlete. These two always have each other's back.
It's like a band of brothers, basically going to war, you know, not just for themselves, but for each other.
Oh, it means the world to me. You know, not many people see it though, but he's also one of the first people to come up to me after a loss too, you know. He's always like, hey, keep your head up high, you know, we're always there for each other, so it means a lot.
Yeah, like right after my match, like I'm supposed to go like do cool downs, and like instead of doing the cool downs, like I'll like say I'm out there, and then I'll just be peeking, and I'll just work my way back in there. Just after his match is over, then I go do my cool down, because we're right there to support each other.
Their bond has propelled them to national acclaim. Currently, Laney is ranked 29th in the 125-pound weight class. 2 victories over ranked opponents has shot Kelly into number 14 at 133 pounds.
I don't put any expectations on myself or him, so I pretty much tell him the same thing I tell myself, like, you just gotta go out, let it fly.
Yeah, same situation. Yeah, it helps a lot. Now, like when it first started though, I was a little nervous, but I walked down the mat and I knew it was too late. After I won, I was like, oh, I love it now.
We got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
And we don't have nothing to lose. We're just out there just wrestling.
The dream scenario for the pair would be following in teammate Cody Walters' footsteps as MAC champions.
Yeah, you know, the success they're having right now at, you know, stepping right in at the college team as 2 freshmen, you know, you don't see that too often.
I mean, we just both know that we're going to be there, like, come MAC times, like NCAA. Like, we know, like, the kids, like, lost to or have beaten, like, we know, like, what it's going to take, and we believe in ourselves that we can do it, like, get on the podium.
Most importantly, these two are enjoying the ride, competing in the sport they love.
They're having a lot of success too, which makes it fun.
Nah, I like it. It's fun.
Oh, it's fun. I mean, we put in the work. We go through hell and back. We push each other. So, I mean, it wouldn't be worth it.
Cameron Kelly can credit a lot of his success to his experience of freestyle wrestling during the summers. Our reporter Rachel Cherry broke down the different types of wrestling and how our green and white squad has their individual expertise.
Folk style is the traditional form of wrestling for high schools and colleges across the U.S. But most people don't know that for international competitions, there are 2 different styles, freestyle and Greco-Roman. Head coach Joel Grinley has had a successful career in international styles.
So, you know, I wrestled in the 88 Olympic trials, I wrestled in the 92 Olympic trials, I wrestled in the 96 Olympic trials. I think I was on the U.S. national team for maybe 9 years, 8 years, 9 years, somewhere in there.
Sophomore heavyweight Jesse Webb is one of the most accomplished in freestyle and Greco of the Bobcats. Webb placed 2nd in junior freestyle nationals before coming to Ohio.
Well, I didn't start wrestling freestyle and Greco until my junior year of high school. I went to Alabama and I lived there for a month and trained with their Fargo team. And then that's the first time I competed was that summer at the nationals, and I took 5th in freestyle and 8th in Greco. I prefer it more over folk style, actually.
There are many differences between the styles. In folk style, refs count after the back has been exposed 45 degrees to the mat. Different amounts of points are awarded at different levels. And to get a pin, the back must be held to the mat longer than in the other styles. In freestyle and Greco-Roman, once the opponent's back breaks 90 degrees, the wrestler is awarded 2 points. International styles are more about exposing the opponent's back. When on bottom, the wrestler is just trying not to get turned. If no back points are given and action isn't happening, the ref returns them to neutral position. Also, if the wrestler pushes the opponent out of bounds, the wrestler is awarded 1 point. The difference between freestyle and Greco-Roman is that in Greco, the wrestlers can't use anything on their lower body. Coach Greenlee believes it benefits the wrestlers to do international styles.
In college, really, that's the only way to get better is wrestling freestyle over the summers.
And wrestlers like Ohio's 133-pounder Cameron Kelly are starting to see the pros of wrestling freestyle and Greco.
I'm not a huge fan, but I am a big proponent of it. I think it does make you a lot better of a wrestler. It helps you in situations that you normally wouldn't get in folk style. So I think you definitely should. I'm actually starting to like it a little bit more since the rules have changed.
Bobcats can be seen wrestling international styles on the off-season due to Coach Greenlee's advice. When recruiting, Coach Greenlee looks for wrestlers who are putting effort in freestyle and Greco-Roman in the off-season.
I would suggest, yeah, to wrestle as much as you can wrestle. Go to university nationals if it's at all possible. I mean, as far as you're being healthy and all those things. In all honesty, I mean, what we're looking for, we're looking for guys that are good students. We're looking for guys that are hard workers. We're looking for guys that are kind of mat rats. And if guys are wrestling in freestyle and Greco over the summer, you know they're kind of mat rats.
Whether it be Greco or folk, Ohio wrestler Cody Walters has it down. I had the opportunity to catch up with a staple of Bobcat Nation, Cody's father. He shared with me Cody's story and the love of Ohio wrestling his family has. Here's a brief look at our conversation. All right, so Cody comes here to wrestle. He actually redshirts his freshman year. So his redshirt freshman year as an Ohio wrestler, he goes 39-5, accumulating 30 wins, that big mile mark. He actually wins the 174 weight class for the MAC. He gets the All-MAC Freshman of the Year, gets a bid to the NCAA tournament, and becomes an All-American. Now in his career, his latest accolade is 100 wins. He's been to the tournament every year, and he's also won the MAC every year. Now as a dad, could you have written a better story for your son as a collegiate wrestler?
Absolutely not. Cody, coming out of high school, was not a blue chip wrestler. He, although he was awfully successful, he went to the high school state championships 4 times, won it once, had a bad junior year where the state didn't allow him to wrestle. And in my opinion, I think he would have won it, but he was probably more on his junior year than his senior year. So coming into college, I was actually hoping that at some point by his senior year that he could make the national tournament. It's not easy to do, so I don't think I could have wrote it any better.
So you obviously saw something in Cody at a young age to get him out there. You put him on the mat when he was 6.5. So what did you see as a dad that made you know that that's where he should be?
So I had him in karate actually first, and he loved it, and I was waiting. I wanted to wait till he was 6 before I put him into wrestling. When we started him, his first 2 matches, he took a pretty good lump. I says, "What do you think, buddy?" He says, "When do I get to do this again?" So he actually went on like a 17-match win streak after his first 2. His favorite move at that point was the headlock. So I kind of knew there was something special there, and it was basically his heart.
You said that you love the sport yourself. So yes. What is your background in that specifically?
My background's nothing like Cody's. I actually, at first, thought wrestling was ridiculous. My football coach was also a wrestling coach, and he basically told me I was going to be a wrestler, needed a heavyweight, and that's where it started for me. It didn't take me long to actually start loving the sport.
How do you think, your experience has helped shape Cody's career?
Well, one thing I realized when I went to the Marine Corps after high school, I was actually on the obstacle course in boot camp. And I went through it the first time, and I'm thinking, Jesus, that was probably one of the hardest things I'd ever done. And the drill instructor's yelling, "Go again, go again." I realized your mind's going to quit on you way before your body. And I always pushed that on Cody. You're not going to be able to outwork your body, but your mind will stop you first. And he caught on to that pretty quick.
Now, I'm sure just like Cody, you plan on going to nationals at Madison Square Garden this year. How do you think you'll watch him, or how will it feel watching him on the mat for the last time?
Well, I try not to think about it all the time. Part of me is almost ready, just because it's watching Cody can be grueling. Thinking about like his last match or something, it's kind of rough. So I actually, even right now, I'm like, it's almost trying to break me. So he's my, I can't even talk about it. I really can't. It's watching him compete and just knowing where he came from and what he's put into it, and enjoying the rest of the Bobcats. But I just try not to think about that, because Cody's he always says that I'm his hero, but I think he's more mine. So
I think that says a little bit about your relationship and the career he's had. What do you think he'll do? He's an education major right now. What do you think he'll do after he's done his career?
Well, I know he'll be a coach wherever. Cody's got a gift with kids. He doesn't pass them by. I've even seen him after a loss, a kid try to say something to him. He won't pass a kid up, but he'll pass his old man up, but not a kid. But I gotta believe that whoever my son is, I'm sure you'll watch me watching him coach. I also have this dream that him and I are coaching a team together. So, it'll be up to Cody. Whatever he does, I know that he'll put everything he's got into it.
For an extended look at my talk with Mr. Walters, you can go on our website in a couple of days at woub.org/sports, or give us a like on Facebook and find our Twitter page. It'll be up there for viewing. Now, another Ohio athlete collecting accolades is back on the track after a year off. Reporter Steven Hernandez has more on the interesting roommate circumstance for Ohio track and field.
Fifth-year senior Danielle Brown is on the verge of Bobcat history in the weight throw, looking forward to reclaim the school record. But for Brown, this isn't just about beating a record. It's about beating her old teammate and old roommate, Janice Rose.
She literally was my roommate all year. Other girls, they have different roommates throughout the years, but she was my roommate all 4 years she was here.
I roomed them together as freshmen when they came to college, and they stayed together the whole time after that. Danielle wouldn't be where she's at right now without Janice, and neither would Janice be where she's at.
While competing in the 2015 indoor season, Janice Rose outthrew her roommate with a weight throw of over 60 feet. But of course, that doesn't overshadow the fact that Brown and Rose are friends and roommates, who shared a lot over their 4 years on the same team.
They were great friends. They were best friends here in college.
One thing really specific, we helped each other grow spiritually. We always would give each other some scriptures before or after meets, or even we were roommates, so just throughout our time together as well. She was more the competitive spirit. I'm just so nonchalant. So she brought out some competitiveness in me as well. She did something, she's like, come on Danielle, you can do this as well. So I'm like, okay, I can do this too. So she helped me out in that aspect.
Of course, throws coach Nick Perro reminds us that there's still a goal to be met at the 21-yard line, and Brown is confident that Rose would not want anything less from her old roommate.
Well, she'd probably pray first. She'd probably pray for me, tell me to say some scripture. She would say, leave it all on the field.
Ohio track and field isn't the only team trying to outdo last year's performances. Men's basketball has already surpassed their record from last year, and reporter Michael Drapcho found the keys to their success.
What a difference a year can make. Right now, no one knows that better than the Ohio men's basketball team. With 3 players leaving the team after last season and 5 incoming freshmen joining the squad before the 2015-2016 season, there was plenty of turnover on the roster. However, it seems as though those changes were for the better.
We took a loss and then it piled on, and we just had a lot going on just in the locker room, on the court with coach. It was just a lot of conflict last year.
That conflict has been noticeably absent this season, which is probably one of the main reasons that the Bobcats have already eclipsed last season's win total of 10.
No one person is excluded from the group. We're always looking to hang out and find any time to just be around each other because we know that'll lead to just being real cohesive on the court.
It's one of the tighter groups I've been around. And that helps you overcome a lot of things. And, I think offensively, you watch how they share the ball. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of agendas out there about who's scoring anytime.
That selflessness offensively has been paramount in Ohio's success this season. Bobcats rank in the top 5 in the MAC in points per game, field goal percentage, and three-point field goal percentage.
When a group cares about the group's achievement rather than individual achievement, funny things happen. When you stop caring about what you're getting out of this for yourself, all of a sudden you find out you're getting a lot more back for yourself than you ever envisioned.
It's rather easy to see what caused Ohio to improve so much on the offensive end in just 1 year.
Adding a Jerron Simmons, if we'd had Jerron or Kenny on last year's team, we would have been better.
I had to say Jerron. Jerron's a point guard that we haven't had in a very long time. He's a pass-first point guard. He's always looking to get everybody involved. And just like that leader, that general on the floor that we just really haven't had since I've been here. So I think he's just a different type of point guard he's been real pivotal to our success.
Even with the offensive progress, the team understands that it still has a ways to go.
We know for a fact that we can score offensively, but we got to just lock in and be a solid, sound defensive team, not an absolutely great defensive team, just to be able to win games. And our offense should be able to help with just getting stops.
You can change defensively. You can get better defensively. You can improve defensively. But it takes effort. It will get there. It will. That's my job, and that's what I have to do. And the more and more we get entrenched here with our system and the way we do things, and you've seen a big step forward from this group, and I would be disappointed if we don't continue to step forward.
The name has echoed around the Convocation Center since he committed to be a Bobcat. Jerron Simmons. Sounds familiar, right? Well, that's because of several players in our last piece mentioned him as the biggest contributor to this year's success. Reporter Nathan Wiseman looked into one of the most unselfish players on the team.
Vision, control, guts. Ohio point guard Jerron Simmons possesses the intangibles of an elite passer in college basketball. In fact, Jerron averages 7.3 assists per game, ranking him 5th in the nation in Division I basketball.
It feels great to know that I'm doing the right thing, doing my job as a point guard, getting my teammates involved, getting them open shots and putting them in positions where they can score, so it's a real good feeling.
I judge his effectiveness in the game by how he gets others involved and if we win or lose. And that's a pretty black and white way to look at it, but he responds pretty well to that.
Jerron spends his downtime constantly studying 8-time NBA All-Star and LA Clippers point guard Chris Paul to improve his game.
He's a lot similar to my size, so the way he runs his team, the way he passes the ball, makes simple plays, and the way he's able to score when he needs to score for his team, that's what I try to take from him.
Simmons spent his transfer year developing closer relationships with teammates like Tony Campbell and Kenny Kaminsky off the court. That off-court chemistry makes them even stronger on the floor this year.
Me, Tony, and Kenny are roommates, so we sit and we talk all the time. We talk about the games. We talk about things we think we can do better, and I think that's a big help to this team.
They know each other very well. They trust each other very well, and it does spill over to other guys on the team, but there does seem to be a pretty special bond with those two in particular.
That was a big part of what I was doing last year, watching my guys play, is seeing where they like the ball, seeing where they can score the ball, and that's a big thing going forward for us and for me. Like I know Trey, he likes the ball either in the corner or as he's cutting to the basket. Tone, he can pretty much get the ball anywhere and score the ball. Kenny, he's going to pick and pop and be on that wing. I'm learning my teammates every day, and I think that's a great thing for our team.
Coach Saul Phillips has the utmost confidence in Jerron and believes he can lead them to a bright future.
he's an elite point guard in college basketball, period, any level. And I'm glad he's on my team.
Women's basketball has several athletes nearing the record books, and our reporter Andrew Homan wanted to take a closer look at one specifically, records of blocks. He caught up with several players on the team to see how they're heightening the level of competition.
They're not successful because they're the tallest people on the floor. They're successful because they're maybe smarter than the person, or they're working harder, or something along those lines. And those are things that you can change. You know, you can't change your height, but you can change how hard you work and how well you prepare.
Lexi Baldwin and Jasmine Weatherspoon are often outsized in their matchups, but are arguably the most improved section of the Bobcats' starting lineup. Their improvement is most easily noticed through blocked shots.
Well, personally, it's just like, you know what, this is my house, you know, nobody can give me all that, you know.
Sometimes you're like, oh, she has so many fouls, like, go at her, or, so, you know, sometimes you are a target.
It certainly energizes our kids. It's a big play, and fortunate that we have two, not just one, but two young ladies that are able to make such a play.
In Ohio's 71-64 win over Eastern Michigan, Weatherspoon blocked 3 shots during a 13-0 run in the fourth quarter and finished the game with a program record 8 blocks. A big part of Weatherspoon's surge this year simply comes from grown confidence.
Being healthy, you know, coming back from a knee injury, and sometimes that takes time, and this is the healthiest that she's been, it's the strongest that she's been, and she's more comfortable on the floor, both offensively and defensively, and I think that all goes back to her being a healthy athlete.
Weatherspoon and Baldwin's rejections have both of them in the top 10 for career blocks in Ohio history. As of January 26th, Lexi is 3rd with 78, and Weatherspoon is 4th with 70.
To have those two behind you, it makes a big difference.
Blocked shots aside, both Bobcats are now more complete players.
They can play both ends of the floor. They can affect things defensively. They have the ability to score on offense. Both pass it pretty well. So, you know, I think their diversity is what makes them so valuable to us.
Baldwin and Weatherspoon have the tallest hill to climb in their matchups, but know they need to represent the Bobcats.
Just having that constant reminder, you know, like, you have to win. Like, you have to do everything you can, this game, every game. Just, you know, being aware that we're the target here.
Well, really, I just have to outwork them. And, you know, I can jump pretty high, not to toot my own horn, but really, I just have to definitely outwork them because, you know, they're big girls, like you said, so really, it's just about my effort and how much I put into it in order to be better than them.
To see them prepare well and succeed, to me, is probably the ultimate satisfaction, is to see that come together.
Now that's all we have for today, but that doesn't mean our coverage stops. You can give us a follow on Twitter or like our page on Facebook at Bobcat Sports Showcase, or visit our website woub.org/sports at any time. I'm your host, Abby Carnevale, reminding you to fight for the green and white, and I'll see you back here February 26th at 11 p.m. on WOUB.